Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Bed Tech Show. We're your hosts, Ben and Ethan. We are excited to bring you some tech news here at bedtime. We've got a little bit of a different show today. We are going to be talking about our hopes and dreams of what we wish Apple would be, because they are not. And now that we are in the new realm of Apple devices coming to you as of tomorrow, for most of you. If you're one of those lucky YouTube reviewers, you've probably already got them like a week ago, made 10,000 videos and whatever. Nevertheless, for the rest of us, you may be getting your devices coming tomorrow. But we're going to talk about what we wish we would like. And for me, the first thing that I wish Apple would start doing now is putting the stickers back in the box that they used to ship with every product.
Oh,
They are
interesting.
in this new year of devices. They are not shipping with stickers.
They
In an
they aren't, huh?
Yeah, in an effort to save on plastic and be carbon neutral, that stupid skit that they played a couple of years ago, to, which was just a waste of life.
We're carbon neutral. We're buying trees that are already there.
Yeah, in their effort to be carbon neutral, they've decided not to ship them with stickers, which I find interesting.
Wow.
Um, Working from a production company back in the day when I was younger, we were required to put stickers of like our logo in packages, and I always thought that was the dumbest thing, but it's marketing.
Yep.
Uh,
It's
so
marketing for sure.
and so I guess they've chosen not to do that type of marketing with their products. I guess their brand is big enough now; they don't need to.
Yeah, I mean, fair point to them. They don't really need to do marketing. They do have a really big brand and a brand following, so it's fair. But I I mean, it's nice having those stickers, but I don't really know where to put them. That's where I'm like,
I throw them away. So
but it's nice having them, is what you're
I
saying.
know now that I can't have it, that choice has been taken away from me.
That's funny. That's really funny. And, yeah, that's fair. That's a valid reason. It's you don't appreciate what you have until it's gone, I guess,
Yeah,
right?
very much so.
Yeah. That's a good one. And small. I like how you start small, Ethan. I'm gonna go big on mine. What I like to see from Apple is an iPad with a full-fledged computer operating system. I don't want an in-between of like this iPhone large version and also not being a laptop. I want it to be a full-fledged pad that has a full computer operating system. I just
100%.
think, yeah, I'm especially with the size of phones nowadays. I'm like,
Mhm.
what is the difference that I'm getting? More drawing space with my pencil.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Um, I just I think a lot of us have been waiting for it for a long time, and I really don't think the iPad has the market anymore. That's my personal take, but maybe everyone's thinking, oh, I need a phone for my everyday use, then I need an iPad for my note taking and student and slash business slash other activities use case. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. I completely agree with you on that. I want an iPad that has Mac OS on it and that can
Yeah.
do, I mean, you can already do like sidecar with a Mac, and you can mirror your screen onto the iPad and control aspects of Mac OS on there. It's possible. The iPad is capable. It has the power. It can
Yeah.
run Mac OS, but we need to get Figuriti or whatever his last name is. We need to
Yeah.
get him out of there. He's
Yeah.
he's the reason that Mac OS is not on the iPad.
Yeah, and why do you think that is? Do you like besides maybe like executive decision making, what I guess what I'm looking for is what do you think the strategy is behind it? Do you think that
I think it's going to cannibalize their Mac lineup.
that was gonna ask just exactly ask that? Do you think it'll just eliminate any desire to get a MacBook Air or a MacBook, right?
Yeah. I And I think it will, but Apple has a propensity for not caring whether a device is cannibalized. We saw
Mm.
that with the iPod. When they came out
Yeah.
with the iPhone, that completely took out the need to have an iPod
Yeah.
and
Very
the
true.
iPod Touch. So they've done it before. They could do it again. They
Yeah.
just they don't want to. And the fanboys of Apple that are out there are going to say, "Oh, we need that in between because we need to spend more money so we can have that in between Mac OS and iOS."
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. People are always going to try to justify it, but in my mind, I'm like, there's very few use cases. My only thought is for artists and designers, and that's just about it.
Yep.
Everyone else, I'm like, you either have your laptop or you have your phone. There's no real reason for the iPad, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing a huge thing. I just would like to have that full computer operating system on there because it would allow me to justify buying one, I guess.
Yeah. Because so I have an iPad and I was like, okay, I'm going to see if I can have this replace my laptop because I sold my laptop so I could build a computer and whatnot. And so I don't have I don't have a mobile computing solution in my life.
Got it.
Um, and every time that I use my iPad, I get super frustrated because I'm like, I need a computer on my lap while I'm watching TV on the couch, naked on a beanbag chair eating Cheetos.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, does anyone else watch TV any differently?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, that's the only way to do it, right?
yeah.
That way you can scissor kick out of the beanbag chair. Nevertheless,
That way you get scissor kick out of the beanbag chair. Exactly.
the only way, because otherwise you stick to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it doesn't replace the laptop. It has some functionality. I think Mac OS or iPad OS has gotten a little bit better over the years.
Hmm.
We've had some of those laptop like features bleed into it, which has been nice. It's been nice to have some of those, but it's not enough. It's not enough to justify getting an iPad to replace your laptop, um, or justify using an iPad for anything other than artistic content creation.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree. I have a
So
difficult time justifying getting one, which is why I don't have one. But
yeah,
that's my take.
yeah, I don't think they're worth it. However, sometimes it's nice to have an iPad. You need it. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
My next wish from Apple is that their new devices would actually ship with Apple Intelligence on it as
Hmm.
part of iOS. So that was like one of the big things from their keynote is that these devices are built from the ground up to handle Apple Intelligence. You're going to be able to use it. And all devices that are coming tomorrow do not have
Yeah.
Apple Intelligence on them. It's
Crazy.
it's kind of, I think it's a really annoying culture thing that we have, that American tech companies have, of shipping a device and promising software features for that device in the future. And my opinion is it's never a good idea to buy something for with a future promise of software for that, for what you need at that present time.
Hmm.
And I mean, Apple does this all the time. They talk about things that are coming, and then it's an update later on. And so you're already like 3 months into the life cycle of the product before you get to actually use its full potential.
Yep.
Kind of the same thing with Teslas and their full self driving. I mean, full self driving was promised years before I even bought my Tesla. I'm 4 years into owning a Tesla. It's not really full self driving.
Really.
Yeah,
That's unfortunate.
it it's great. It's far beyond my what I guess I would have expected, but it's not fully autonomous. It's really good assisted driving, but not full self.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah. I actually drove in one of our friends' Tesla, Dallin. And I drove it and I did the self-driving. And I will say it is for someone who doesn't have a vehicle that is like any kind of self-driving or a driving assistance in any way, it is pretty cool to have. But I know what you mean, where it's like the overall concept here is signing up for something, a product, getting the product, and then the one of the main features that was promised to you isn't there upon delivery.
Mhm.
You're like, oh, I'm getting kind of like a half-baked product that I signed up for, and I have to wait more time while they have my money before they provide it to me.
Yeah.
This is kind of what I related to. It's kind of like this, where I'm like, all right, I've got kids, so I tell my I've got two boys, and especially they love to make a mess. So I always tell them to clean up, and I try and reward them for their cleanup. And they're like, Dad, how about how about we have the reward right now, and then we clean up? I'm like, that doesn't really work that way. Like you got to pay for whatever it is, and then you get your reward. But then the few times where I've allowed them to get like their reward, like whether it's like screen time or like candy or whatever it is, then they don't give me what I expected, which is the cleanup. And that's very much like Apple, where Apple's like, how about you give us the reward of money first,
Yeah.
and then we'll give you what you're asking for, and then you give them the money and they give you the phone, and they're like, well, we're happy with our money that you gave us, but we'll get you what you want. We'll
Yeah.
get you that cleanup, Dad. You know, we'll get that to you. We got what we wanted, Dad, which is our reward and dessert. We got it first, but we'll deliver on the back end at our own convenience. My kids do that all the time. Not all the time, but whenever they finagle me.
Uh,
And I feel like Apple does that. We're giving them the reward of our money,
yeah.
and they promise something, and then we have to wait and wait and wait,
Yeah.
and it's frustrating.
We're just giving them an interest-free loan.
Honestly, that's what it is. Yep.
So yeah, I'm really annoyed with all of this half-baked hardware, half-baked software. Um, I think we need to Apple needs to have a shift and stop announcing things unless they are ready to go that day they announce it. I mean, we saw that with the Air Power, which was going to be
Yes.
revolutionary. I was so excited for that,
Same.
and it never
Same.
came.
Never came. Never came. I was way stoked for it. I was like,
Yeah.
that's perfect for my bedside table. That's
Uh-huh.
amazing.
Yeah, that would have been the best. And there's not even a solution that's close to that.
Yeah.
So
Really, really frustrating. I will say we're not only seeing it with Apple, we are seeing it in different areas as well. I work in software. Well, I used to work in software. Now I partner with a lot of software companies, and that is a very common theme: over promise and under deliver. Oh, that's a feature that's coming out, this next uh, sprint of product releases, or it's yeah, we have it on the roadmap, et cetera, et cetera, and then it doesn't come out for 2 years later. We see this with video games. We see this
oh
with video
yeah.
games. The one that comes to mind that I think pissed off a lot of people is Halo
Oh
Infinite.
yeah.
So many promises on release date, and they even delayed it by a year. And we didn't get, like certain multiplayer aspects for 6 to 12 months down after. Forge didn't come out for over a year
Oh
later.
yeah, a year
Um,
later.
it's so I will say it's not just Apple, but it is Apple is a big proponent for it. And I think they need to make a shift, or consumers just need to realize I'm not going to buy a product until you give me the whole package,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So
Maybe that's what we should do as consumers vote with our wallets.
yes, vote with our wallets.
It seemed
I
to work
agree.
against Nvidia. So they realized their mistake and started lowering their prices a little bit.
Good. Yeah.
So we need to do the same. Stop buying Apple products.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It's like, okay, maybe I don't buy this new phone. Maybe I wait. Um, Another thing that, obviously Apple Intelligence is coming out, and I hope that can live up to expectations. I want it to be like a true like Jarvis or
Mm.
Cortana or Friday, whatever reference in pop culture you want to relate it to. I think that's what everyone is hoping for.
Mhm.
Hard to speak to it at the moment, but I feel like Siri has been around and Apple has collected so much data that they should have the capability to make much more customized like virtual artificial assistants.
They should.
And I'm just kind of blown away that it's taken so long just to get Apple Intelligence out there, and we don't even really know what that's exactly like. I mean, they've presented cool features, don't get me wrong, but we don't know what it's truly like. I really want a customizable Siri that knows like my preferences. If I tell it to do something, it knows what to do. Like, hey, put that message from Ethan in my calendar, and maybe it probably does do that, but I think to an extent where it truly is like it knows me, it knows my personality. It can start to predict my behavior and learn of me. I want it to be true AI assistant. That's what I want it to be.
Yeah, I do too. Um, and I'm really, it's really sad because we've had Siri since the iPhone 4S, which was what, 2011 when that came out, or yeah,
Dang.
2011. So we've had Siri for over a decade. That is a massive amount of data that Apple has collected and made money off of me for just doing stupid things with Siri. Nevertheless, it's really sad that they can't come up with a in-house um, AI learned language model. They have to partner with
With OpenAI.
OpenAI. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, it's like Apple isn't even smart enough to come up with that when you have this tiny little company that's been able to do so much in the realm of AI.
Yeah. Yeah. That's another really valid point where it's like if Apple was continually making long strides in innovation, maybe you can justify and say, okay, they're focused on their actual core flagship products and innovating there. But when we look back, there hasn't really been too many significant changes. Now, maybe I'm just underestimating how much work it is to increase the efficiency of a battery and increase the computing power of their chips. With that being said, I feel like that's a kind of those are kind of stake like table stakes, right? They're foundational for next gen and upgrades. I expect that. Everyone expects that.
Mhm.
It's not truly innovation. Um, but they haven't been innovative, and so it makes you wonder like where are they burning calories? Where are they spending all their time, and why haven't they really been pushing to get this large language model with all their data or something similar? Um, it's just kind of almost sad that they have so much data and so much history, and they have to partner with OpenAI.
Yeah.
Um, Granted, all credit to OpenAI. They are doing some incredible things.
Yes. Um,
So,
I agree with that. I mean, yeah, if we look at the track record of the iPhone, I mean, it used to be in the early days of the iPhone, like you'd have the iPhone 4, and then the iPhone 5 was like a completely different design. And then the iPhone 6, completely different design.
mhm.
It seemed like there was a lot of innovation, at least on a 2-year basis. Because they
Yeah,
had the S model, which was essentially the same thing, just a spec bump.
yeah,
But at least there was innovation on a 2-year cycle. Whereas now it's like the iPhone 16 looks the same as the 15, the 14, and the 13. There's
Yeah,
not much difference. Oh, colors. So we'll be able to tell the difference with colors.
colors are nice.
Yes.
Colors sell, Ethan.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. And maybe the 16 has gotten some extra features that we didn't have before, right?
I mean,
Like
it'll have 8 gigs of RAM. All this year's phone lineup
8
will
gigs
have,
of RAM is great.
yeah, it'll be
But and
good.
then like the action button and then like customize like iOS 18, there's a lot of more customization, which is nice. Um, so there's I think maybe this year it's been better, but still makes you wonder, like, where are you spending a lot of your time and resources for how big you are?
Yeah.
So anyway, I didn't mean to cut you off though. If you want to
No,
keep
you're good.
get
That
another
I
thought.
think they need to spend more money on their R&D. Maybe they're spending a ton of money, but they need to be better with their R&D department. Um,
You have made me curious now. I want to know,
yeah, I'm
what
interested in
is
what
Apple's R&D spend?
versus Samsung's R&D.
Let's see. So number wise, it doesn't really make it relative. So it's record high in 2023 is a record high of about 30 billion. Okay. But what is that relative to? What kind of percentage is that to like total revenue,
Yeah,
maybe income, you know? Um, let's see, percentage.
because yeah, like the quick Google search for Samsung R&D estimated their R&D budget of 21 billion in 2023, which
Okay.
would be lower than
Yeah.
Apple's. But it seems like Samsung is able to innovate a little bit more,
Yeah. And
and
so
they
we
have a wider product lineup too.
that's
Like
true.
they have so many products and so many SKUs of everything. Like
Dude,
it's,
dude, don't they have a tank? Like, or
I'm
maybe they
sure
don't have a
they do.
tank. Or what it's I think Samsung has some kind of military vehicle, I swear. Um, but yeah, like I agree. Their product line is insane. It's not just like wearable tech and like handheld tech.
Yeah, they've
No.
got monitors, they've got dishwashers,
Yeah, I was gonna
washers,
say
and
like
dryers,
hardware in
fridges.
my house, you know? It's
Yeah,
crazy.
all of my
Um,
appliances are pretty much Samsung.
Yeah, yeah. I have a lot of Samsung appliances as well. So just going back to spend, let's compare this relative, right? Apple's R&D spend percentage, it was 2.2%. We talked about how this year's model of the iPhone had some good features that we'll give credit to. They bumped up their R&D to 7.8% of their total revenue. Okay. Let's see what Samsung is. Even though Samsung has a total number that's less,
Mhm.
let's see what it is. Uh 7 to 9%. 9% of its sales on R&D.
Hmm.
Yep. That's in 2020. And then in 2022, they invested over 10% of its total global revenue in R&D. So they're dedicating more of their revenue to their R&D than Apple is. Now, dollar value, it's maybe less, but
Less. Yeah, Samsung
um,
clearly doesn't make near as much as Apple does.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's fair, but I think we're seeing a little bit more efficiency and focus from Samsung on their R&D than we are with Apple.
Mhm.
Um, based on just kind of the feature set that they're producing and product lineup and creativeness. That's honestly what I'm thinking. And that's what I see at least. So yeah, interesting stuff.
Yeah, I it's just sad over the years that Apple hasn't innovated enough to it. If I mean, we talked about this last week. It kind of feels like they've gone the way of Boeing, where they've just been focused on their investors and their bottom line, which is great if you're an Apple investor. I mean, their market cap has increased exponentially over the last several years. However, as like a consumer of their product, it it's lacking. It doesn't that market cap doesn't quite translate into their products.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Another thing that I wish that Apple would do is stop making their devices smaller
Hmm.
in the interest of saving space. So, one of the things that I noticed with their M4 iPads this year, they're thinner um, from the previous generation,
Okay.
and which means that battery life is going to be the same or less because you have
Hmm.
to put a smaller battery in. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously their chips are more efficient, so they're probably going to get the same battery life. But rather than making it thinner, that you're just going to be able to bend and crack, because we know jerry rig everything's going to do that at least
Yeah.
once or twice.
Yeah.
Let's make it the same size or bigger. Let's get some more battery life in there. Give some more functionality and utilitarianism to these products.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a very good take actually. And I think that might be even like a hot take because everyone loves the idea of like, oh my gosh, it's thinner, it's lighter, it's like easier to carry. But at the same time, the thought is like, what if it was the same size? Hear me out. But instead of saving space, we just like leverage it and use more of it and pile in more feature set or like you said, utility aspects to it. I think that's like a really interesting perspective. It's kind of the flip side, you know. I don't know if anyone's necessarily complaining about like how thick an iPad Air is, you know, but so why make it thinner? But
Right.
people do complain about like battery life, you know?
Mhm.
So that's a really good take. I didn't even think about that, but I think that's a fair take, and I think that's a really good one. Um, yeah, valid point.
Yeah, I know like Apple has kind of stepped back a little bit on that with a couple of their products, like their MacBook Pro line. In 2016, they came out with this new design. It was super thin. It was thinner than the MacBook Air, um, and that came at the expense of thermal control and thermal throttling. It just couldn't compete with um, previous generations with heat dissipation and the amount of power that these chips required. And then after so many years of people complaining, they finally like, okay, we need to give more power to these MacBook Pros. So they made it bigger and they brought the ports back that everyone was wanting.
Yeah.
So um, they can do it. They know how to,
Yeah.
but it's just weird that on some of their devices, like the new iPad Pro, why they decided to make it thinner.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody asked for that.
I yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah, I agree. I like that take. That's a good one. My next one is and maybe I'm just not utilizing it as much as I should, but I feel like the Apple Watch is behind the curve when it comes to smartwatches. And I look at like Garmin and I also look at other like wrist wearables like Whoop, and they are so much better in battery life, in feature set, in health bio scanning and tracking. And Apple did come out with some cool features, but like the sleep apnea. Um, but it's in my opinion, it's still behind the curve. I see so many reviews of people using Garmin and Whoop and talking about how it's just a lot more informational and a lot more accurate than their Apple Watch. And they prefer them over the Apple Watch because they feel like the Apple Watch is kind of just a notification wearable. And yeah, you can take calls from it and you can send text messages, but for people who are data minded and love to learn about their body, their performance, maybe their sports activity besides just estimated calories based on heart rate,
Mhm.
Like they really enjoy and appreciate those features. And we've already talked about the battery life of the Apple Watch, right? And how it's
It's
impacted.
atrocious.
Yeah, it's terrible. And how that impacts, sleep tracking because I have to charge it every night. And we've talked about that. These are just many things that I would expect Apple to be at least on par with, if not better. And I think they're behind the curve. I really do. And what did we get this year? Sure, we got, what is it, the Apple Watch 10, which has a
Mhm.
bigger screen. And then the Ultra 2, no new model, same
Yeah.
model, and just new colors,
New
right?
colors. Oh,
Correct me if,
oh, Series
oh,
10, it's smaller,
oh,
a little
smaller,
smaller,
smaller.
smaller. Yep.
So you know what that means? Better battery, right? Oh wait,
Right.
sorry. No, I got that flipped. Same battery, worse
So,
battery, whatever it
yeah,
might be.
worse battery, but more efficient. So same battery life.
Same battery. Yeah. So that's something that I'd like to see a lot more.
Yeah, I agree. I think I mean, I feel like the Apple Watch when it first came out was a great innovation. It was taking something that was starting to get off, but made I think smartwatches mainstream
I
at
think
that
that's
point.
fair. Yeah, I do think that's fair. And credit to Apple for that. They made the smartwatch more mainstream. Yeah. Because I think there
And
were competitors out there, right?
yeah, I think there were, but it wasn't. People weren't really gushing for it. Um, and for some reason, Apple got people to buy the $10,000 gold Apple Watch. So, I mean, if they can do that, I mean, they're doing something right.
Dude, that's crazy. Man, I forgot about that, bro. I forgot about that. It's crazy.
Yeah, the Apple Watch edition that was going to stand the test of time that lost support within 2 years.
Oh, that's so funny.
So, yeah, I mean, it was pretty good then, but yeah, I think there's just a lot more. There's a lot better wearables that can get the job done. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe there isn't an all-in-one solution that can do everything pretty well. I think the Apple Watch has kind of got it there. That's where it has leg up. It can do a lot of things adequate.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, but I don't think it excels at one thing as good as like a Whoop wearable would, which I think is um, looking at that. I'm like, I'm really interested in getting one of those.
Oh yeah. Same. I really am heavily considering it. The only setback for me is they require a subscription.
Yeah,
And
and I'm tired of subscription.
same. Same.
I have enough of them in my life.
Yeah, same here. But that's the model to go for these days.
Yeah,
So
wonder
yeah.
if you could use that if that would be HSA eligible.
If that would what?
Be HSA eligible
Oh, actually, that's a
subscription.
really good question. That's actually a really good question. I didn't think about that. Could be. Yeah.
Because if that is, that takes that would take my concern out of the subscription.
Yeah, exactly. It takes some pain out of it
Yeah.
for sure. No, I agree. I agree with you. Yeah.
um, think my last Apple wish would be enough with the colors, and let's just get new products.
New products. What would be a product that you'd want to see?
Oh, a product that I'd want to see.
Yeah.
I, so I tried the Aura Ring for an amount of time. I like some of the functionality of it. I don't wear it anymore,
Uh-huh.
mostly because of the subscription. But I think like a smart ring from Apple, I think could be really cool. Is
Hmm.
that can give you some better health tracking. It would be a lot better for sleep tracking because it's not like this huge thing on your wrist. something a little minimal.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a really cool product. Or um, smart glasses that could compete with the Meta Ray Bans that actually had like an in um, lens display.
Yep. Yep. I was actually just going to say the same thing. The product that I'd want to see is not the clunky Vision Pros, but glasses that take, if not all of the capabilities, many of the capabilities of the Vision Pros and applies it to regular looking glasses.
Mhm.
I think that would be so sick.
Yeah,
That would be something that I would love to see and love to buy.
yeah. I would get that. I would even pay an upcharge for something like that.
Mm. That's what Apple's known for. Not maybe
Yes,
not an upcharge, but
high
uh
margins.
yeah, high margin. Yeah, exactly.
I think their margin on their products is just south of 50%.
Dang,
Yeah, I think it's like 41% is like their average margin
that's
on
pretty
product.
sweet. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
You know why? It's because I'm not spending on R&D. That's why.
Yes. Yeah. Got to pay Tim Cook somehow.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I think it'd be cool. I didn't think about the ring though. I didn't think about the ring. That'd be kind of fun. Especially if they could get more features besides sleep tracking, because I would assume it'd be able to measure like your blood and heart rate, your blood pressure, heart rate. Maybe not pressure, but maybe you could.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, I know the ordering can like detect whether you're feeling sick or imminently going to
oh
be sick.
wow, that's cool.
Yeah. And it's able to kind of like adjust your workout training regimen based on that.
Hmm.
Um, so I think that's cool. It would be kind of nice to have kind of those um, predictive health features on an Apple product.
Yeah.
Because right now, the only time that I can predict whether I'm getting sick is if my child comes home from school sick, and I'm like, I'm getting that pretty soon.
You tell your boss, kid just came home from daycare sick. I'll see you. I'll be out of office in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
So
yeah, my children are my current um, future health prediction.
yeah, that's I mean, very valid. It's predictable. They get sick, you're probably gonna get sick.
Yep.
So well, yeah, that was kind of my next one that I'd like to see from Apple was a little bit more of the augmented reality technology besides the Vision Pros, something that was more consumer friendly, something that was a little bit more economic friendly
Mhm.
from a price point perspective. Um, I think the Vision Pros are a good foundation of what is like art of the possible.
Mhm.
Now it's just innovating on that to make it more efficient and easier for the consumer to handle and to buy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Let's make a glasses Vision Pro. Uh,
who should okay, so we got Ray-Ban with Meta. Who would Apple partner with from a sunglass perspective?
maybe Oakley.
Ooh, Oakley would be a good one.
Yeah.
Oakley would be a good one.
I, I do love Oakleys. I mean, personally, I have more more styles from Oakley than a human being should ever have. I kind of gravitate more to their style of sunglasses,
Yeah,
but they're a little more polarizing and less subtle than I would say Ray-Bans are.
I would agree. I would agree with that. Ray-Ban's kind of more your classic traditional style. They're very iconic, like iconic in a way of people know what Ray-Bans look like. They know what they are. Oakley, you're right. They're a little bit more flashy, a little bit more modern, and they have a lot of variety of style.
Mhm.
I think that'd be a really good one though, because that is a company that's really focused on eyewear. I'm trying to think of like other big brands that are in eyewear, and if they fit kind of the mold of Apple. I wouldn't say like anything like high-end luxury like Gucci or, I don't even know if they make glasses. I think they do, but I'm trying to think of like another brand that would work well with Apple, but
Well, they
Gucci's a
did
good
just
one.
drop Taylor Swift, so maybe they'll pick up Apple. So,
Maybe, maybe, yeah. From one cult following to another.
yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that'd be cool though to get some kind of like Apple glasses. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
yeah. Fun stuff though. A lot of asks from us as consumers from Apple.
Yes. Hopefully they listen and hopefully they start implementing some of these things. But
Yeah.
it remains to be seen. So
Indeed.
if they do, we will make sure to keep you all updated as we go on. So make sure you hit that thumbs up if you liked it. That really does help out our channel. If you didn't like it, that other button seems to work all right too. Make sure you send it to somebody you dislike. They could use this. They could use this video in their life. Ringling that dingling button so you never miss any content as it's posted on the channel. And when Apple starts listening to us, you will be notified. Until next time, thanks for watching. Stay classy, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.